said, remember, in the law of the gods, now he's talking the Galactic Federation law, right? That when you do something in the free will universe to oppress anybody or to deprive them of their right of free will, then you're going to be subject to the same punishment you inflicted on them. Now, we hear this as it goes around, it comes around, right? And you reap what you sow, right? And you get back what you put out. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And all them the same. Different ways of saying it, right?
That's right.
Right. Because galactic law has us in this position because of a prior condition. So the Queen of Heaven and Earth want to clean this up. Whose job is it to clean that shit up?
It's our job.
The galactic law say that the custodians of the earth is responsible to restore the earth at the close of the age, no matter who did it. So if it's going to be our job to clean it up, how do you clean up the genetic defect of a human that was deliberately deformed by somebody trying to play God in the laboratory? Right? What's the treatment for it? What's the remedy? Because they're going to keep coming back. And if they try to use too much brain power, they're going to shrivel up like Stephen Hawking. Right? So what's the remedy?
Yeah, what's the remedy? What's the remedy?
One drop of Anunnaki blood cleans up all of the birth defects.
Oh. Hey, okay, like, let me pause right there. Let me ask you this. All right, dealing with the O type blood, you got O positive, O negative, AB, positive, negative, AB. Now, from my studying, I'm starting to figure out the special different type of blood on the O type. Now, you said one drop of blood. So what is it? One drop of the O positive, or is it one type? Could you break that down on the blood deal too? To add that into the Yaku, because it connects with this.
The blood typing tells them from where you came, because you tied to the earth. The blood types are altered by the frequency of the earth when you traverse to a different location. It's the frequency of the earth is changing the frequency in the DNA, because we organic to the land, we tied to the earth. So as we move across the earth, it's just like you're changing radio stations on the radio as you move across the country. The earth has to keep you in tune with it in order for you not to fall apart and turn into a big pile of mush on the earth. Right? A genetic soup laying in the middle of nowhere. Right? So earth, you have to be compatible with the earth to a certain degree in order to remain here, or else the earth will start to pull you apart. They call it gravity. But it's the electromagnetic field that puts the energy at play in a torsion field that gives the illusion of gravity, as they describe it. Gravity is the weak force, but the electromagnetic field holds in position according to the way that the rays of light hit the magnetic field.
Hey, you cut out?
All right.
Oh shit.
All right. So now the geneticist is working with somebody to enforce Yakub's rule. Now we know Yakub is a black Jew, right? Because the Jews come from Jacob, right? So the Judeans, the black Judeans, are the children of Jacob. Jacob is Yakub, the supplanter, one who came to replace the original man. Because that's who you are burrowing under. So now Elijah said that when they was enforcing his rule, they was using the police.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't no police over here before they came with their servants that they brought from Mongolia, from Huns, and from what we call today Hindus.
Right.
These was nomadic tribes that they warred with as Rome proper. So when you look at the wars of Rome and the spoils of war was the women, the children, and the wealth of the land. And they conquered the land. So now we all the way over in the military lane now. So now we got to play warfare mentally to unravel who we fighting against that's keeping us in the condition. Right? So we search documents and we find stuff like the papal bloody decree that you showed. Remember we went over that?
Yeah.
Right. So they made the oath public and now somebody exposed it. Okay, now, and why did what do they call it if you got one drop of Negro blood in America?
A nigga? You got one
a
drop?
Negro.
Negro.
All right. How much Anunnaki blood do it take to clean up the genetic mutation?
One drop. One drop.
Is that a coincidence?
No. I think it all lines up.
Okay, now watch this. What do they call America? The Great Melding Pot, right?
Yeah, that's right. Go ahead.
What do you do in the melding pot?
You mix things together.
You mix ingredients together.
Yeah.
And the ingredients they mixing together is enforced through some people known as eugenicists. Remember the opposites attract I told you was going to come back up? This where it come back up.
Oh, yeah.
J.J. Rogers,
go ahead.
Sex Race, right? They do scientific experiments on the uncanny attraction of black men to white women, right?
Go ahead.
And in their studies, they determined originally that the standard of beauty of the black woman was so great that they couldn't overcome that obstacle and compelled them to amalgamate with a white woman. And in contrary to that, back then, when they did the analysis, they couldn't figure out why the white woman didn't find the black man attractive.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
How in the fuck is they gonna get one drop?
Follow too. I'm 21 and I'm connected to a lot of the Oklahoma tribes. To the Creek, Chickasaw, and the Choctaw. My great grandfather actually came out of Ohio, so I wanted you to help me. Can you point me in a direction exactly how to connect to my family? Also, I like what you said, how we have our own weapons that maybe our blood has been poured into. And yeah, I'm really just trying to find better ways to connect. I've been soaking in all this information, dreams get more.
So let me answer the first part. And you already mentioned you tied to the Oklahoma, to the Cree, to the Choctaw, Chickasaw, right? Study them, and the more you learn about the tribe, the more it activates your DNA, and it's gonna call in your tribes. People gonna start showing up with pieces to the puzzle. So when you already know where the bloodline at, that's what you study. The more you study it, and the more knowledge you become of the bloodline, the tribal traditions, customs, then you start calling in the ethers, in the spirit realm, the rest of the tribe together. Right? So all of those tribes
start together.
all of those tribes sent soldiers to fight in the Seminole Wars. Every tribe that's how they was able to say that our land was abandoned. Because we all went from west to east, southeast to Florida to fight Seminole Wars. right? And we was leaving our family,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Alabama, Mississippi, and New Orleans into Texas, right? Now
Yeah.
that we starting to wake up from the slumber, we had to start studying the tribe that our ancestors said we was from. But some of us didn't tell us where we was from. Some of them just said we Indian or we got Indian in our blood like that because they don't want us to get murdered for trying to reclaim the land without knowing exactly what's taking place because the enemy look just like us, but they ain't us.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I was who, and we just got in that bit. Another one of them online fighting arguments,
Who?
and then that led me to this live right here, and it exposed some more things for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the starter kit to activate more of your DNA on your tribe. Study the tribal customs and traditions, rituals, and all that stuff that you can get your hands on. And it's more of it
All right, I'll
written
put
than
in
you
that
could
work.
possibly imagine. Right? But
It's just
when
hidden.
you reviewing it, you have to go through your own filtration process, asking yourself all the time, is this how my people move? Then you think about your family, how your family move. Right? So now
Mm-hmm.
you matching the old up to the new. It's certain parts of our culture that they can't erase because of who we are. A
Exactly.
lot of it
Exactly.
is our musical prowess and our propensity for dance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's just the starter
All right, I
kit.
appreciate that. I appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, just started killing. All right.
Yep. So
Yeah, I've been taking my Hayoka. All right,
I'm gonna
go
take
ahead. Thank you.
another
Appreciate
call.
you.
Yep. So I don't have that much time on this one because I got something else to do shortly.
All right. All right. I appreciate you, God.
All right.
Free Larry.
Free Larry Hoover. See if they let her in. Okay. See if they let her in. Apparently Instagram don't like me bringing guests in today. Hey,
Peace and unity. How are you?
how you doing, sweetie?
I'm doing great. I'm having like a fantastic day, week.
That's always good to
Okay, can you
see.
hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, but that's awesome. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So what's going on with you?
Shoot. Like on the real, or just like surface level conversation type stuff?
Wherever you want to go with it.
All right, cool. So like on the real, me and my friends, bruh, y'all always want to do this to me. Y'all always want to do that to me. Talk about, hold on a second. Nah, they said she about high. I'm not, bro. What? But no, I appreciate you. Ellie always has the cutest hairstyles. Thank you. But me and my friends have been on like very, very deep meditation and rituals and stuff like that. So literally, whatever we're talking about and doing is manifesting darn near instantly. Literally today, we were figuring out a situation. We had a dilemma. So we were like, okay, let's hit this meditation. We have specific intentions that we've already charged a lot of energy behind. We've used them consistently. So we use the meditation. Situation gets cleared up within minutes. And it's been like that for really months now.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that's coming in with the new energy is the accelerated manifestation of desires. You know, and if you're doing the rituals right, they have to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when I say doing the rituals right, some people be like, you can't get nobody no rules. It's not rules. It's just the way that it work.
Right.
And they think it's a rule because if you do it the way that it work, they want to take process out of the process. You can't remove the process, right?
Exactly.
And the bigger the thing is, the longer it takes to manifest.
That's very true. Because it's like the minor situations. It like you said, like the minor situations, you just boop, they go away. Or minor manifested. Literally, I had manifested probably $250, almost $300 in the past week and a half. So after changing my mindset and realizing, like with my affirmations, right? With my affirmations, I had to make this a goal daily so that this is no longer like a big number to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I did that mentally and understood it to the fullest, is just manifestations happening immediately. So, you know, that's been
50% of manifestation is writing it down.
Okay. Yeah.
That's half of it there, because what you did is you took it from the mental and brought it into 3D.
Right.
See, so now you got a jump start. That's like you get a motorcycle and you got to prime the engine because it's been in the garage. You got to get the gas going through the gas line first, right? So that's where writing it down is the primer to get it to flowing into the reality.
Okay.
Because you already created in the mental world. Because in order for you to write it down, you had to see it mentally.
Yes.
Right? Now, once
Right.
you see it mentally, then you put it on paper. The next thing it is left, ain't nothing left but to see it physically. Right?
Exactly. And like the other amount, like, because what I do is for my rituals, I have checks that I write, and then I put the amount on it, then I burn it. So this is one of the check amounts. What? Do they got it paused for y'all? Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. They had it paused for me. And then the amounts just go higher and higher. So 15, then we got 150. And these are for my friends. One is 175,000, and then the other one is 101,500.
Mm-hmm.
And so literally it's like it's not just me doing it just to do it. It's sincerely, like, I do it for my friends. I do it for my YouTube subscribers. So I call my YouTube subscribers rainicorns. So I have written, literally, my subscribers, I've written rainicorns 2 checks so far. And literally I did it. I didn't like do a whole video and be like, hey, you guys, I'm gonna do this. It was like, hey guys, I did this thing. How are y'all feeling? Did you feel the results from it? And literally I had the check written and dated April 18th, and a whole bunch on the video commented and said, I actually did get money on April 18th. Yeah, I did get money and stuff like that. With all that going on, I'm just that my life's going well, and I'm making things better for other people too, and that everybody like around me has a great life. Like, I'm genuinely happy about that.
That's what you're supposed to do. That's that mother energy. Is you want all of your kids. You want all your children to have a good life. You don't want one of them to have a good life and the other one to have a bad life.
Right.
Right? You want all of them to have a good life. Now, some of them might be some assholes. They steal your babies, and you still want them to have a good life.
Hey, that's true. No, that's true. Like, literally, like you said with the child analogy, it's like that with people in general, right? So, like, Me, I don't have to be emotionally tied to a person for me to still treat them right. I don't have to like you in order for me to do what needs to be done. People have had jobs. People have had jobs. You have a coworker. You've had a coworker that you don't like, but you still work with them because that's what you get paid to do. So my job literally being here is to be the vessel to say certain things. Whether I like you or not, I still got to get my job done. My reward doesn't come from you. It doesn't come from anybody else besides, you know who? Big Mama. Exactly. So it's like, if when I look to the Most High for whatever I need, and I don't really have to care about what other people feel, it makes my job that much easier. It's just people let emotions and feelings get in the way of the mission.
You know, your emotions is just supposed to be your navigation system. Most of us don't know that. So that's why when you get stuck in the emotion, that's like being stuck in the change oil light on your car. If you keep watching that just because it's blinking, you're going to crash.
No, because why did I buy car oil today? Oh no, that's lit. That's lit. I love that. But I love that analogy too. Your analogy, you really have the best analogies. You break things down to where people can understand it, of course, and then you break it down to where they can relate it to something that happens in everyday life.
Yeah, because that's the easiest thing for them to relate to.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense. And now I just been up here talking. How are you? I'm not. You're not gonna do that. Just go get away. We're not telling me how you are.
Hey, look, Ellie, your energy is like uplifting energy. Like, the people in the comments can even feel it. You know, so it's always a pleasure to have you around. So I just let you do your thing.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna ignore my question though.
Okay, what's the question?
How are you? Oh my goodness. I want to know.
I answered that first.
You said what?
I told you I was good.
No. I'm not just gonna like accept that as the answer. I'm gonna need some details. How was your week last week? How was your weekend?
You know, on the weekend, the big event was I did the video with Black Magic 363 on YouTube, and was able to answer a lot of questions and put a lot of information out on there. I think the hardest thing for people at this point to understand is creation is fluid. It's happening in real time. Tomorrow not here yet. In order for tomorrow to get here, we got to manifest tomorrow.
Exactly.
It's the collective manifestation. That's why we all know we're going to wake up tomorrow, because we creating that shit in real time. Right? And some of the creators can see it in wave form, so they see a flat earth. And some of the creators see it in particle form, so they see a round earth. They don't make now one of them right or wrong, it just make them have a different view.
Okay.
They had a different level of creativity in their psyche. Right? So it's like you can't expect a high school or junior high school basketball player to compete with LeBron James right now. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Right? But if you give him the time and you help him to develop, he'll be able to play in the league with the best of the best. Right? So the creator's learning how to create. You have to see it in every phase.
Right.
Right? So at your level, you might not be able to see over the infinite plane of the mind, because that's where the infinite plane is. In order to see past the infinite plane, you have to see through the slits. Right? And when you see through the slits, you see in the particle, and the particle is solidified creation. This is when we have a round Earth, because we're dealing with particles now. We no longer dealing with waves. And then you got some that can see it in the middle. It's a wavicle, right? So if, like they say, if we on an infinite plane, what's holding it up?
Right.
Right? But the only way it can be infinite if it's the product of the mind. The mind don't have a limit. So you can't put a limit on what the mind can perceive. Right? But soon as somebody put a limit on it, that's an agreed upon manifestation of that part of creation.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Like the concept of heaven.
Yeah, that's Earth is heaven when we get the
Yeah.
imposters out.
The imposters.
It has to happen that way though. Right? Because we got to be able to see the deceiver when the deceiver coming, and then we got to be able to show you how they was giving out the deception. And then once you can see it, it doesn't work for them no more. They can't trick nobody no more. They game exposed now.
That's how they are right now. Like you were saying earlier about the finances and stuff and everything crashing. Yeah, people figured it out. So once it got figured out, there's no use for it anymore.
Right. So once it runs its course is over.
Right.
Yeah. So before the invasion, women didn't have to wear no clothes if they didn't want to. They wasn't getting raped. For what they call today primitive cultures. The women don't have to wear no clothes. They ain't getting raped unless it's somebody from outside of their community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the difference. That's what we're trying to get back to the beginning, back to the haven called Earth instead of the hell called Earth.
It's like, okay, when you say it like that, that kind of reminds me of what they call it, the 3D, 5D split. I just say the dimensions merging at the same time. It's them separating themselves. So it's like you have the hell version of heaven and the heaven version of heaven. Would you say that all correlates?
So what happens is this: the 3D world, we want it to be here so we can experience finding our balance. The part we didn't want in the 3D world was the upsetting of the balance by the imposters. They came in and threw a monkey wrench in the good working program.
Right.
Because with that, they enslaved everybody. Right? Now, we at the part where they got to find somewhere to be because they can't stay here. And we go back to as it was in the beginning. And it's the close of the age, so shall it be in the end. So in order to close out the age, you got to take it back to the beginning, back to its purest nature.
Mm. That makes a lot of sense. And I guess that's like one of the reasons why, like, the way that things are working now with the mix of generations, I'm seeing it's really a mix of things. It'll be like generation X and Y, they're onto certain things because they understand, oh, flip-flop. This is what we did in the Matrix. This is how we're doing it when we're more spiritual and in tune. Versus it's like generation Z, and then I'm seeing like the babies and stuff, generation Alpha. It's more like this is just the way that this goes.
I'm glad you brought up Generation Z.
Hey.
Right, because Generation Z, when you go through the alphabet, what's the last letter?
Z. According to this alphabet.
Look, in the Greek alphabet, It's Omicron.
Ooh,
Omicron
okay.
is the small o for the omega. Omega. Remember, from alpha to omega. That means from beginning to end.
Okay. Yep.
From A to O. But in English, it's not A to O, it's A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
And now we on Generation Z. Well, what would make them call this Generation Z?
It's the last one. That's it.
The
Well,
gig is
it's
up.
okay. It's yeah, like it's wrapping up their series of generations that they had. Then the fact that they made the next one Alpha, then the one after Alpha is gonna be Omega. I don't think they have a name for the one that's supposed to be after that, but it is what it is. I'm Gen Z. My son's Generation Alpha. His child, well, depending on how things go, because whatever. But the next kids, they will be Generation Omega.
Because
That's
now
it.
they're going backwards. They're going backwards with the alphabet. They don't exhausted the English alphabet. Now they have to go backwards to the Greek. Because the English alphabet is derived from the Greek alphabet. Right? So when we say alphabet, we say alpha, beta. That's 2 Greek letters.
Right.
Right? So it's called the alpha beta system. The alpha beta system is from alpha to omega in Greek, but it's from A to Z in English. Right? So that the way that they deceive us is with vowels. The interchanging of vowels in translation. And that's how they can use a term like more as a all-inclusive term for varying different groups of people. And we have to identify the ones that's us, the good more. It was. And that's the fear of the old system. But it got to go down. The old system has to fall for the new system to rise.
Right.
Mm-hmm. They said they fucking with the live. Doesn't surprise
Oh
me.
yeah, it was cracking up. It was. I heard that last good sentence 100% clearly. Before that, it was choppy.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna let you drop down, Ellie. I'm gonna take another caller before I go.
All right then. Peace and
Thank you
unity
for
to
coming
you.
on.
I love you
I love
for
you too.
sure.
Thank you for coming on. Okay, I'm gonna take. I gotta go. Take one of the brothers in here. See if they let him in. Apparently, they only letting certain people come in on the live because I done accepted several people and haven't put them in. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Unity. How you doing,
Unity,
brother?
what's going on with you? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, discernment. Call me Dub, but I'm up here in Tacoma, Washington.
For sure. Far West.
Yeah. But you hit home on something earlier. You made me think, and when the other guy was on talking to you, and you said connect with your tribe, and I had never thought about that as far as the area I was, born in. And so I just remember the name Cahokia was always was it always was a name or that stood out to me as a youngster, and so I'm like, what can you tell me on that? Because I'm like,
That word,
I know you that you.
That word is properly pronounced Hayoka. The Hayoka is the priest. For that to be tapping on your door, that would mean that you come from the priest line.
Are you breaking up there? They don't want me to hear this, Rob.
Did you hear any of what I said?
They ain't want me to hear none of that, Rob. I already know how they do. It was like it's and I knew that before you even pulled me up, because it was a surprise that you pulled me up, and I was like, oh, okay, see, that's just Big Mama talking, because my cat came to the door, and then next thing I know I was on with you, and I was like, hey, Big Mama, because I was like, I need to get out there and get some sunlight, you know. So
Yeah,
I already know.
I was telling you that word is properly pronounced as Hayoka. And the Hayoka is our way. Those were our high priests. They didn't live in the village with the rest of the people. They lived out. They called him the medicine man. And because he gets so much energy reads, he can't stay in close proximity to a lot of people. Am I describing you?
Hey, you hitting home, cause so I had this and it come to me in a dream, and I ended up making it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, copper Ankh.
So you really touching me right now.
Yeah, your energy. I can see your energy causing your electronics to malfunction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you walk barefoot on the dirt?
Yes. Hey, that's one of my things. So my OG, my mom, she ascended on November 1st, right? So I went back to Wisconsin, you know, where everybody is, and they're like, you just gonna walk around here like that with the slides on? And cause I like to wear slides, so I can, if I see some grass, some dirt, some rocks or something, you know, I could ground for a little bit. I'm gonna do it. So you walk around like that all the time, and it's like it's about to snow, and I'm like, well, whatever Big Mama going through, I have to go through too. So, hey, it is what it is, you know.
Hey, so you know, then that also activates stuff in your DNA. You know, so yeah, so it's a natural. You're a natural. So study all of the spirit information you can get your hands on, especially Vadum.
And say the pronunciation again for me. Hokia.
Say Hayoka. So Martin discovered that he was being used or misused. There's nothing wrong with being used. It's when you misuse that it's a problem. People always talking about, she used me. No, not used. Misuse. Because if you used for what you worth in your own proper context, that's a good thing. When you misuse, that means taking advantage of and putting the position out of context, that's a bad thing. So understand, oh yeah, Vernon Johns was the truth. And he was actually my mama's cousin. He was my mama's cousin too. Well, it was Becky, my cousin too. But they was related on her father's side, the Johns. My mother's last name was Johns all the way up until she married my father. Right. So that gave me a special interest in his case. Matter of fact, for those who want to know who he is, James Earl Jones played him in the movie about Vernon John. But I knew about him before I seen the movie, but I seen the movie years after it was made too. But I had learned about him studying Martin. I wanted to know what happened to the guy that preceded him. We just disappeared. They kicked him out of the church because he was too militant. So then he started. We might be, sweetie. Um, we traced back to Louisiana, right? The Giants. My grandfather, Hezekiah he from Macomb, Mississippi. That was his territory, and they divided his land up. Get out of here, Beulah. That was Aunt B. That was my mama's stepmother. So apparently we cousins on our motherfucker. So you gonna have to inbox me so we can put this shit all the way together. Cause Miss B was Aunt Betty's mother. Yep. So anyway, I'm gonna go back into this. So once we get into the 70s, Panthers moving now, right? This is when they start infiltrating what we call gangs. We was tribing up in the late 50s. My mother was what you call a outlaw vice lord biker on the west side of Chicago. This was before you had all of these spinoff groups. So they instituted a cultural thing that we do. It's called a razzle dazzle or a flea flicker in football. It's the same thing. Everybody got the ball. We in the huddle. Now scatter. We don't know who got the ball, but one of these niggas got the ball. So my mama sent cousins and sisters to California. She kept some in Chicago. She sent some stayed in Mississippi and Louisiana. Then she ended up moving to Michigan with my father. So this was to keep her sons out of the fray in the fight for power. Because there is no fight for power when we hear. We know where the power goes. We just gonna put it in the right place. If you make something work the way it's supposed to work, it'll last longer and work better than if you use it for something it wasn't meant for. You say your whole family from Macomb? Shit. That's a good chance we related. So there's a tribe of Mississippians called Shoshone. Too Short is tied to that tribe, and the tribal chief actually was my first girlfriend's father named Sonny Shaw. He was the chief, but he was here. Anyway, the Shaw clan is Shoshone, indigenous Americans. And the Washington family is the Washita. It's the same name changed to fit the English language. So if your last name is Washington, you're a Washita who is named after George Washington for conquering the Washita or Wichita. Wichita, Kansas was a stronghold, right? So now we starting to get to the Hall of Records. Now we starting to get to the Halls of Records. Once we get to the Hall of Records, they can't, that's it. So the records is kept. It's just, are we wise enough to get the records back? Leonard mean lion. My uncle named Leonard too, by the way. Oh, the Sparks. Yeah. So we got the Sparks up here. Sister Sparks and Brother Sparks. They got officers as they offspring up here in Pontiac. So the Sparks family come from down there. They brother Sparks was a dog man. He was teaching me some dog stuff. Okay, so you want to know how to get the records. First of all, you got to know where the records at. The records is in the mountain. And the records is not just records, they what you call your trust documents. And this is where our money at. You have to be agreed to publicly declare ownership of the records as a tribal grid on the land. You have to have what you call historical works to verify your position. Dane Calloway, Malachi York have those indigenous works where they can say, I'm the grid on the land, and this is where our records is in just outside of Kansas City, Kansas. Right? So I talked about it on a Zoom call the other day, but what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to try to figure out how to post clips from it so y'all know exactly where the records is to the trust. When you get the records to the trust, is the records to the money. Because all of our wealth is held in the trust. And the trust is owned by the Catholic Church by papal bulls. When you understand which papal bulls, which I already went through that, but the papal bulls is what kept us separated from our family's wealth, what we call the royal coffers. The royal coffers is all this shit you seen in the museum that they said from Mexico and Egypt and Tibet. That's our shit. But the Catholic Church said we was imbeciles and non-functional chieftains, and therefore we did not have the ability to hold our own wealth. So they put us on an allowance plan, right? When they put us on the allowance plan, then we had to earn an allowance by working under a slave system until Master gave us a check at the end of the week. We never did that. In the indigenous land, every job was per diem, by the day or by the job. This job paid $400. When you're done, I'm going to give you $400, period. Or if it wasn't that way, if you work with me today, I'm going to give you $400 for today's labor. Whatever we do, don't matter. At the end of the day, when you go home, I'm going to give you $400. No credits. Credit and debt is how they trapped us in slavery. Right? And they only did it using a penal system code of token and reward. What we think is money is not money. It's fiat, which means it's something somebody said had value, but it has no value. So Jones is also Johns, and the Johns, they are kindred clans. Jones and Johns is the same last name in the indigenous language. It's just split in English to tell you that y'all two different people. It's also Jonas, Jonas, and by blood linkage, you are Johnsons, right? The sons of John, and Jones sons, which is the sons of Joneses, and all of these names. Our culture is tied up in the last names because they couldn't just take it, right? The last name I got from my father, Hayes, is really a short form of Hayoka. And it's pronounced in the indigenous tongue as Haya. So when you hear them dancing around the fire saying, hey, they calling for the Hayoka priests. Right? But they can't call for a Hayoka priest unless they call for him a counterpart. Right? So now you were seeing why they were saying it's a voodoo song. Oh yeah, yemaya, oh yeah, yemaya. It's the old songs. It's all of our shit. The tailors was the families that made clothes. There was a whole priesthood of tailors. They was literally tailors. That's what they did as a profession. The Brown clan originate in what you call the Northwest Territory in the Ohio Valley. That's why the Native American Cleveland is named after his name Cleveland Browns is because they are Ohio tribe from the Northwest Territories. The cannons were part of a military contingent who literally controlled the cannons. Now the cannons in Chicago are a group of boosters, or what we would call them in Eurocentric, they thieves, but they only steal high-end shit, like cars and boats and shit. But the cannons don't play. Them the wrong motherfuckers to fuck with. And yep, I got people in Yazoo, Mississippi. Oh, John Sally know what's up. He know what's up with the fam. I didn't see him talk about it before. He know he want us. Same as Isaiah Thomas. He keep telling these motherfuckers we ain't come on no ship. Look, freelance specialists, we don't care how hard it takes us to get our shit back as long as we're willing to fight for it. We ain't backing down. We don't expect them motherfuckers to go easy and give it up easy, because if it was easy, it'd have been done already. Yes, but any movie you see with a museum scene, listen. Everything in the museum scene is telling you something about your history. Everything in the museum movie. Any movie got something to do with a museum. It's a secret in there about your history. Look, all of the Freedom of Information Act request is asking your enemy to give you your shit. They're only going to give you what they want you to have. But when you understand the divine right of kings, and all you have to do is identify the location of your records, you just captured your records. And this is by the grandfather clause. This is the law that they can't usurp. It's the laws of Ma'at. The ancient code of kings is written out of the laws of Ma'at, based off the laws of nature. Right? We codified it in Kemet, in the Mississippi Delta, in the Azteca pyramids, in the Mayan pyramids. We codified that shit. We wrote it down so that in case something happened where we lost it, we can find it. So it's still there. It's in the hieroglyphics. The whole story is there. Debt is the gun, credit is the bullet. Speak that shit. Yep, monopoly money. Yeah. So Charles is the last name Charles that's the Virginia clans. And study Charleston, Virginia, how it got its name, and you would trace your clan back to how they got overthrown. Credit is the bullet, discharge is the gun. Speak that shit. Yep. So I got blessed in on the godmother knock off of Miss Thompson, who was out of Tupelo, Mississippi. Anybody last name Ivory comes from a matriarchal clan, and the ivory is the symbol for the elephant. The Carters are the ones who used to own the buggies. Y'all would be taxi drivers in this era. I'll put it that way. I'm gonna save this live. I'm about done. I'm just going through here and making sure it's like the Colemans. The Colemans were actual miners who had first right, took all of the coal wealth generated on the land since we've been in bondage. It's all accounted for. All of the coal that's been sold is going to be y'all family wealth. The Brooks come from the Creek Indian tribe as a spinoff. That's why they call it a brook, because it's a creek. And the Creek and the Cree are related tribes, but they different tribes because they had different tribal leadership at different times. The Tucker clan is an old clan that goes way back. And the Tucker automobile was shut down because he was a mulatto related to the Tucker clan, and they wasn't allowing us or anybody related to us to come up with their own shit. The Murrays came from Ireland in a student exchange program under the orders of Queen Scala. I don't know every name off the top of my head, but it wouldn't take me long to figure a lot of them out. So if I don't mention the name that you bring up that I see, is because that one ain't on the top of my head. But if something stand out, or if somebody tell me to tell them, then I'll speak on it. So the Jenkins clan were kindred to what we call the genies or the jinn. The genies were a group of women who controlled the fire element. They was firebenders. That's all. All that Islamic perturbability and over sensationalism of the jinn, and you can't figure the jinn out. It's some bullshit. The genies were magicians. And they call one of the genie by itself is a jinn. That's it. They could grant wishes because they control desire of the heart. It's just that simple. And the desire is the fire that they control. Tina Marie, Rick James, Fire and Desire. McCullen is also one of the names from the Orisha or the Irish. Everybody from the land, on the land, is related. It's not if we all related. We all related, except for the invaders. But we even related to them now, because we amalgamated with the invaders too, because they tried to steal our birthright using amalgamation and misdirection as the method, but it didn't work, because we know who we is. The Hawkins is it's a tribal totem of the hawk, right? The burrow was the tribal totem of the ass. And the ones whose last name was Burroughs, what they clan's responsibility was to transport large quantities of basically the moving company. The Porter family used to be the ones who controlled the waterways coming into land, the ports. The Porters were the ones who loaded and unloaded ships. And they also traveled on trains. That was a family business, so to speak. So once your family, like let's say the blacksmiths, they got iron. Anybody that's into any kind of smelting fall under the blacksmith. So let's say you are a gold smelter and you a goldsmith. The oldest of the two is the blacksmith. So the blacksmith can honor or dishonor a goldsmith's position based off their skill set. So let's say that a goldsmith come to town, but he have no relatives that can okay him to become a certified goldsmith in his land. He can go to the blacksmith. The blacksmith who got a leader, a tribal leader, can validate him. Because he's an older clan, he can validate the goldsmith as a smelter once he see his work. So he got to show him what he can do, and then he can say, this is a goldsmith for real. He a real goldsmith. Now, he not going to write this shit down nowhere, but he going to introduce you to the family. That's enough. We ain't write that shit down. We introduced you to the family. Now, Big Mama wrote it in the book. We call it the Book of Life, but Big Mama got it in the book. It's in her book. The Clay family were potters. They also related to the Potters. The Holmes family were drop the L. Tell me what y'all did. The Holmes family were Holmes family, which means they were realtors on the land. That means that each Big Mama in each area had somebody come from the Holmes family in order to show us the new home designs that's on the market, how we build our homes, the material. And Big Mama call in somebody in her family and say, this is the homes you're studying under so we can build these houses.